Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to update my reading journal with the books I read during August and of course updating my annual challenges as well. And to start I have to add these 4 books to my reading goal. I think it's still doable to reach the 32 books this year. I'm trying to read novellas or shorter books in my Kindle just so I can read a bit more during my free time or when I'm on my lunch break at work. I read Birthday Girl from my Maybe Next. I'll talk more about that later. I also DNF'd Heart of Steel. I was not liking how the story was going and it also didn't make sense, so I did not finish. For the actual books I read this month, they were Birthday Girl, as I said. I gave 3 stars, Wolves and Daggers, 4 stars, The First Ball, a charming short story, 3 stars, and my absolute favorite, Where's Molly, 5 stars. I didn't make any progress on my alphabet challenge, but I did on my Read the Rainbow and Bingo challenges. So I can put Wolves and Daggers in the dark blue space and The First Ball in the red. My printer didn't give justice to the color of these books, but I know how vibrant they actually are. And for the bingo, I checked the Dark Academia, since Wolves and Daggers is pretty much a Dark Academia vibe. I also have to update my series tracker. I actually already read the Cat and Mouse duets, which are Hunting Adeline and Hunting Adeline. I still didn't read Satan's Affair, which is the prequel, but I eventually will. And since Where's Molly is the spin-off, I had to add this series to the tracker. And then I also put the Red Cape Society, which belongs to Wolves and Daggers, because I'm actually interested in continuing this series. With my trackers and challenges updated, we can move on to my review pages. So as I said, Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas, I gave 3 stars and 3.5 on the Spice rating. This book is a standalone and I can say that I'm not a Penelope Douglas fan. I read Punk 57 last year and I also gave it 3 stars. I didn't enjoy it. I guess she's not my vibe, but I will rant about it in a second. Then Wolves and Daggers by Melanie Karsak was a nice surprise. I really liked it. I went with no expectations because it's not a romance and I don't gravitate towards books that don't have romance, but the story and the main character hooked me. So 4 stars and 1 in the Spice rating, which for me means no spice at all. And this book, the genre is steampunk and paranormal. And next is my new favorite, Where's Molly? H.D. Carlton did it again. I love this book. If I could give it 10 stars, I would. So I gave 5 stars and a 4 in the Spice rating. This is a dark romance and I guess a thriller. I don't necessarily think it's a thriller, but it has that vibe for sure. And lastly, I read The First Ball by Andy Laurenkovna, which is a short story in the Neverland saga. I'm not going to continue that series, but I gave it 3 stars. You know, not bad, but not good either. And 1 in the spice. It literally has 29 pages, but I don't know, I didn't really like the characters or the story. We are finally making my cover page for August, and this theme is inspired by these 2 sticker sheets from Stickii. I love these warrior girls, and here in Portugal, July and August are the months when we have medieval fairs. It's pretty common here because we have many castles, and they decorate the streets and dress in costumes, make parades, and make recreations. It's so much fun. So I wanted to make an homage to that here on my reading journal, and I actually gave a hint of that in my August theme in my bullet journal, which was stained glass windows but with some castle vibes. I didn't know exactly how I wanted to make this cover page. I just knew what stationery I needed, so I eventually put this castle in the background and then just layered some paper and warrior girls to keep it nice and simple. I thought it was missing something, so I decided to put this golden grid washi tape to add to the layers, and I think it complements well the other elements because the stickers with the girls have gold gilding, and you know, you can never go wrong with more gold. I bought these new pens. They are the Pental Fude Touch brush sign pen, and I love them. They are perfect for small calligraphy because the tip is smaller than the other pens I usually use, and it's a harder tip and more easy to control your lettering, if that makes sense. Because sometimes with my Faber-Castell, for example, I don't have that control because the tip is more soft. And if I make the tiniest slip with my hand, it shows. So for the title, I went with this elegant font, and I think it turned out really cute with the outline as well. On camera, the outline doesn't show up as well as in real life, but it's there, and it makes a difference to make the title pop a little bit more. I used the same layout for the calendar as always, and then I looked again to the collage and I remember that I could sprinkle some stamps here and there, and that's what I did. I chose this one with some text and put it on top of the cream paper just because I felt like it, and I think it looks good. I used the same Pentel pen as the title to color in the bar where it's going to be the days of the week to keep all the colors cohesive. I like to wrinkle the paper that I use in the collages to give some texture. I don't do this always, but sometimes it's a nice touch depending on the theme and overall layout. And with the decorations done, I can finally put the timelines for the books I read in the calendar. So if you didn't see any of my reading journal videos, I use this calendar to annotate the time I take to read a book. And since I read more than one in a month, it's fun to see which one I took more days to read or the one I read more quickly. So, let's start with the first review of August, which is for Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. So, this book was a roller coaster of emotions. I liked the female main character, that's Jordan, but I hated Cole, which is her boyfriend in the beginning, and I didn't like Pike, which is Cole's father and the actual male main character. Honestly, I don't mind the taboo, the age gap, I don't really care. I like to read about it, but I had this problem with another book, The Doctor by Nikki Sloan, and the problem is that sometimes the actual older characters behave like teenagers and the teenagers act like adults. And of course, you can blame it on maturity and personality, but I hate it. Pike didn't do it for me. I don't say this about many books, but I actually think that Jordan was better off alone than with Cole or Pike. I will say a spoiler right now, so if you don't want to hear it, mute the video. So this book has a trope that I hate, not only in books but in real life too, and that's the shitting trope. I actually saw it coming by Cole because of his behavior and other things, but I don't know, I didn't like him before that and I hate him after that. It's all I'm against, so now without spoilers, I was so happy when Jordan decided to give herself the things she deserved and not be messed around by this man, and I was really sad when they, of course, end up together. I mean, Pike and Jordan. Well, it's just my opinion. And I wrote many quotes because Jordan was relatable, okay? Then, another thing that this book has is miscommunication. There are so many situations that could be resolved if any of the characters decided to speak and not assume things. Pike was actually leaving me so angry by the assumptions that he did. I passed this book pretty much angry and frustrated. I thought of DNF this book, but I really wanted to know if Jordan would speak for herself and she did. So that's fine, but I honestly don't give it 2 stars because of Jordan. And again, it's my opinion. I know plenty of people that loved this book, and if you also liked it, good for you, but it didn't do it for me, unfortunately. I'll stop complaining about this book now and actually saying what's about. So, Jordan and Cole have nowhere else to go after they left their apartment. So, Cole's father, Pike, offers to let them move in with him. With only Jordan actually trying to make ends meet and the awful relationship between Cole and Pike, she finds herself enjoying the time with Pike and understanding each other. So that's basically it without spoilers, because of course, they live together, they are constantly around each other, and the attraction grows. I used some transparent sticky notes to write the rest of the quotes, but since the pen smears on this kind of plasticky material, I put another one on top to prevent that. The next spread is for 2 reviews. The first is for Wolves and Daggers by Melanie Karsak, a really good surprise after Birthday Girl. So the story follows Clemeny Lovell. She's an agent for London's Red Cape Society, and she's known as Little Red because all the agents wear red capes, but she's the most feared werewolf hunter. And the story starts when a famous alchemist disappears and Clemeny is assigned to the case, and she has to work with a werewolf, but a good one, named Richard Lionheart. They have chemistry, okay? But I don't think they will end up together. I mean, I don't know, but I'm really invested in this series. It's not romance by any means. It involves werewolves, vampires, and many other creatures, but in a steampunk setting, which is so cool, honestly. Clemeny is an amazing main character. She's really smart and strong and sassy, and I love her. She doesn't need any man to help her. She has a teammate, but she has a reputation that precedes her. I'm really curious with how the story will continue, because that ending, I'm hooked. This story is a Red Riding Hood retelling, but where Little Red is actually a badass that beats the werewolf. So if you like action, retelling, fiction, and fantasy, this book is for you. And it's small, less than 200 pages, and I got it free from Amazon Kindle, so go check it out. The book below is The First Ball, a charming short story by Andy Lorenkovna. I'm sure that's not how it's pronounced, so I'm sorry. And this short story was not my cup of tea, because I don't really like reading books about kingdoms and princes and so on and so forth. But it was also free on Amazon, so I give it a try. The book that I actually liked and it's set in that time is Scarred by Emily McIntyre. A totally different story and vibe, but I digress. So this actually felt like a prologue, and it had some typos. And I don't know, if you didn't read the previous book, I guess you don't understand what this story is about. I didn't read it, but I saw on Goodreads, and the prince in the short story seems like it's an overprotected young adult, but is actually 30. And yes, the main character is a prince named Kit, and he keeps saying that everyone is obsessed with keeping him safe. And from the other comments, I learned that they keep him safe because the kingdom depends on it. So if he dies, the kingdom does too. And it talks like a spoiled teenager, and I don't really like that since that was an issue with Birthday Girl. I guess it was my fault because I didn't realize that this short story had another book that precedes, but it didn't really grab my attention. I read it in one day, but at least I know it's not for me because sometimes you have to try different genres and settings to know what you actually like. The last book I read in August was Where's Molly by H.T. Carlton, and I loved the cat and mouse duet, so I knew I was going to like this one since it's a spin off. The diary of the female main character in this book, Molly, appears in the second book, Hunting Adeline, and it just leaves you hanging because you don't actually know what happened to her after the events that are mentioned in her diary, and the answers are in this spin off. So the story follows, of course, Molly, and she's a girl that has parents that have alcohol and drugs addiction, and she has a baby sister that she takes care of. But one day she goes to the store to buy some things for the baby and she's kidnapped. I won't say what happened to her during that time because it's a spoiler for both this book and Hunting Adeline, since they experience pretty much the same things. So after that, she escapes and has to start a new life because she can't go back to her parents and she only cares about her little sister. So here enters Cage, the man that helps her have a new identity. They end up having a one night stand and then she disappears. And after a few years, he meets her by chance. She's now working for the same company as him, but this company is named Legion, and it's similar to the company Zaid runs in Hunting Adeline. But while Zaid specializes in pedophiles and that realm of criminals, Legion is more general with the crimes. So now Molly is trying to make a living for herself and she tries to help Legion getting rid of criminals and those who have harmed a woman or kids. So I forgot to include a picture of pigs because they have a very important role in this book. So I decided to draw a cute little pig and color it in with a few water-based markers in shades of gray to match the aesthetics of this page. So I loved this book. Molly is so strong and she's honestly so brave and kind, even though she's experienced so much pain in her young life. And Cage was a nice surprise. I didn't expect him to be so obsessed with her after a one night stand, and I certainly didn't expect him to be loving and also kind to her. Because if you read the cat and mouse duets, you know that Zaid puts Addie on a throne but is very impulsive. But Cage is not like that. He's more thoughtful of Molly and he knows what she's been through. Honestly, they make an awesome couple. And it was a nice end to this story, and it wraps up any unanswered questions. I also had a lot of quotes that I liked, so just this page wasn't enough. So I brought back my hack with the transparent sticky notes. I don't know why I didn't thought of that before because I do this all the time in my personal memory keeping journal when I don't have space to write my thoughts or some lines about a specific memory or event. I use these sticky notes to put it on the top. And I don't have to sacrifice space in the page for these texts, and I can put this anywhere. So here is the final flip through of my August reading wrap up. If you enjoyed it, give it a like and subscribe, it helps me a lot. And tell me in the comments if you already read the Cat and Mouse Duet, and give me some recommendations from the free books on Amazon Kindle if you have any. Also, my October bullet journal theme may or may not be related to one of these books, so keep an eye on my channel to know. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye!